Folks, you are with I-12 GIA, the voice of experience, real talk with real people. Tonight's show is titled The Final Countdown. There's a reason for that. This is our second to the last episode. We're going to do this one, then we're going to do one more, and we're going to go off in a different direction. Stay tuned to the final episode, which will be next Wednesday, for more information on that. Bunch of stuff. We're just going to kind of mosh pit everything tonight and go through and see what pops up. You have myself, you have the specialist in the bottom, and the professor up there on the upper right-hand corner. So, specialist, why don't you start us off, buddy? Whatever you want to talk about.
I'll yield my time back.
Okay. To the professor?
You caught me off guard.
Oh, sorry. All right, professor, I know you got a lot of stuff.
Sure.
Okay.
Are we pissing our pants with the tariffs or what?
No.
Hell no.
Hell no. And
Not even
we're
close.
right back. We're right back to where we were when COVID started, right? Everybody running out and buying all the toilet paper, completely forgetting there's this God-given thing called water, right?
Yeah.
But,
I never, for the record, I went to Market Basket one night. There were two guys fist fighting over the last roll of toilet paper. I never bought toilet paper.
Neither did I.
I went out
but-
and bought a bidet. I never bought toilet paper. I wasn't one of those nuts lining up, 15, 20 people deep waiting for the last roll of toilet paper.
Yeah, well, I could tell you this: like, we never ran out,
No.
right? We didn't prep it. We just never ran out because the idea was, well, we still have running water, so we're okay, right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing the exact same thing, at least in the sector that I'm in currently, right? Construction. There are contractors that are buying everything. I mean, they're doing the same thing. They're fighting over it, right? They're 10, 15 jobs ahead, and they've already done quotes. They've already signed contracts, but they're not scheduled to start actually doing construction maybe in 3 to 6 months. They're buying everything they can, right? They are completely freaking out.
Materials you're talking about, right?
Materials, right?
Yeah.
So I can't say the company that I work for, but they did pretty good about stocking ahead, right? Because they knew with the election that the tariffs were going to be a thing, and most of the other companies that are competitors have already run out of this stuff. But they are, with the price increase, like I had one guy that took three truckloads worth of stuff because and he's just storing it somewhere because he's worried about what it's going to look like. I say this: trust the dawn. Okay. All these people, I saw a great post on Instagram. All these people that can't afford to pay their student loans back are going to tell us how the economy works.
Yeah.
Really? Seriously? How about the real estate broker that made billions of dollars, right? He knows how the market works, and it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for a little bit. But I mean, look at today's numbers, right? People are freaking out over them, right? They were what? The green.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was today was the third best recovery since World War II of the stock market.
So Chuck Schumer, where was he? I got it written down somewhere saying that. What did he say? Oh, the Trump slump is here. Well, not for nothing. Your party has lied to us so many times. Forgive me if I just skip over that press conference.
Yeah.
This was the same guy, along with Nancy Pelosi in 1996, were asking for the tariff adjustment, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know what you guys are seeing. Are you guys seeing anything in your neck of the woods?
No, everything's just moving. Gas yesterday was $2.48 a gallon.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
It's down from about 320, 330, something like that last week. No, nobody's panicking. Nobody's freaking out. Everybody's doing what Trump said to do. Just be cool.
Just hold the line.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's negotiating.
Yep. Portfolios take a little bit of a hit, and then they'll bounce right back.
They already have. They already did bounce back.
Yeah.
That's
So
up to you know.
but the left, it doesn't matter. Donald Trump could come through, right?
That's a
Wave
problem.
a magic wand and cure cancer and make us the #1 economy in the world. They're
Yep.
still gonna
That's
say
enough complaining.
they're still gonna say he's a Nazi and it didn't work, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. What he needs to do
so
is come out and he needs to come out in support of air, somebody said, and oxygen. Say oxygen's a good thing. And if he does that, then all these Democrats are going to just stop breathing.
exactly, right.
So
Still, they're still keying each other's cars, no matter how much we make fun of them. No matter how much we make fun of them and post it and make videos and shows like this,
yeah,
making fun of them, they're still going out there cutting each other off in traffic,
yeah,
right? Just to smash up each other's Tesla headlights. Like, give
yeah,
me a break.
yeah.
Um,
It's worse than that actually. Now they're blowing up. I guess somebody in Texas firebombed one of the charging stations. These fuckers they're getting a little ornery about this stuff. Like we were talking about in the pre-show there, it's 50 roughly 50% of all these liberal progressives think it's okay to kill the president and Elon Musk. That would be acceptable. And it's the same group of people. It's BLM, it's Antifa, it's Occupy Wall Street or Occupy whatever, Occupy
mhm.
Democrats. It's the same bunch. The Palestinian protesters, the LGBTQ plus people. It's all that core nut jobs that really need to be in mental institutions, not out wandering around our streets. And it's the same people. And it's at some point the Justice Department is going to need to go after the financing, who's financing these groups, and start doing some RICO cases on them. And that's the only way this is ever going to stop. It's way beyond. It's no longer peaceful protest.
Exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
the whole point of all this. So I don't know.
So I'm gonna ask a question that might be a little bit controversial, and if it is, that's cool. We could just skip over it, pretend I didn't even do it, right? But you asked me a while ago. I don't know. We're going back 10 or 15 shows or whatnot. You asked if Islam is compatible with the West, right?
Uh-huh.
I would have to ask this question, given the state of things: can Democrats and conservatives continue on this path? Right?
Absolutely not.
No.
There's no way in
Right?
hell.
I just don't see, and again, I'm not asking for anything bad to happen because I don't, right? And we know we've studied enough wars. Again, I'm not a veteran, but I've talked to plenty of them.
Right.
And Sam Adams is usually on here. He's a combat veteran. Bullets don't tell the difference between combatants and non-combatants, right?
Correct.
Bombs don't tell the difference between active participation and the active target, right? That it just whatever happens. So you really got to be careful before something kicks off. I could just say this: everybody that I associate with and that I know doesn't want anything bad to happen. However, you're watching these people and they're not making it easy, and at some point the other side is going to stand up. They're going to stand up and defend their property. They're going to defend their families, right? They're not going to take that because, let's be honest. The police department, according to the Supreme Court, does not have an obligation to risk their lives for the general public, right? Supreme Court ruled on that. So, you say this, almost every show. Listen, nobody's coming to save you, right? Be your own first responder. I do think if the left does not tone down the rhetoric soon and actually start having sane conversations, right, where we're actually speaking in reality, it's not going to be
There's
good.
going to be some problems. No, there isn't. One of my other favorite sayings is, we're all American throughout all this whole election process, the last dozen years or so, with all this turmoil and conflict. My thought process is, look, we're all Americans. Start acting like it. But we don't do that anymore. There's a whole segment of the population of this country that has gone. They might as well move to communist China or Russia or, like some other form of government that is so far away from our constitutional republic as they can possibly get, because they're no longer Americans in my eyes.
Right.
So I can't reconcile that. It's just, I don't know.
I think it would be, if we could take these people that actually believe in communism. Like, there's a lot of college campus movements of the American youth communism whatever.
Right.
If you were to actually take them, right, and drop them in a country that does not have a 911 system, that's actually a communist country, right? Like,
Yeah.
we don't even have to go extreme and say North Korea. We don't have to do that.
Right.
But hey, go to China and see how well that works. See the first time you talk about femlit and your social credit score goes down, and now you
Right.
can't get a seltzer out of a machine. And
Right.
no one's going to listen to you, and they're not going to feel bad for you. I think if these people actually experienced real socialism, they would be so happy and grateful that they live in one of the greatest countries in the world.
Yeah. That'll open their eyes up a little bit, maybe, but I don't know.
Sure.
Specialist, you want to jump in there before you doze off and fall out of your chair?
Nah, I get nothing to add.
Okay.
All right.
Well, in that case,
I guess we're moving on.
did you want to ask? Didn't you have a question about something or other though that you wanted to ask at some point, or no? You don't want to?
No,
No?
no. Just keep going. I'll jump in when I
When you
feel I get something to say that's going to
Okay.
contribute.
You busted my balls the other night about a question. So
I don't remember the question.
you don't remember the question? Well, all right.
Well, yeah, he is old, so kind of like the rest of us.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you. I told him for Halloween he should go as Biden. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Let's go back to Islam for just a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Texas. What the fuck is going on down there?
what is going on in Texas?
Now they have a Pakistan Day or something now, and
Yeah, they're actually trying to build like this Muslim city.
Yeah,
And-
Epic Center, yeah.
Epic Center, and there was concerns of Sharia law,
Mhm.
and initially, like all their American attorneys were like, no, there's nothing like that. There's nothing like that.
Yeah, right.
But when they're interviewing the imams, the imams are like, well, no, what we have to do is, we actually have our own government, and we're going to be able to make those decisions. So yes, Sharia law will be a thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
This coincides with what's happening worldwide, right?
Mhm.
The same things happen in London.
Mhm.
That you actually have imams saying, I actually have a quote to the British in Iman Warms: submit yourselves to Allah. That's their warning. Like you have to do it, or there will be no forgiveness.
Right.
That's crazy, and especially Texas. You figure of all the states that wouldn't put up with that. But I got to say, Governor Abbott was all over it, and it's. Hey Annie, how's it going? I see you in the chat there. Yeah, I don't understand. But I guess they were trying to break ground and they didn't have permits or anything like that.
Yeah, they just blew off everything. Yeah, no regulations.
They blew everything off,
whatsoever.
and the attorneys were kind of making fun of Governor Abbott, saying like, well, you're going to send out the Texas Rangers. It's nothing. It's all open land. Well, you lied to investors. How about that, right? You started with making all these promises, all these things are going to happen, right? And it sounds like the investors didn't do their due diligence and look into it and make sure there's proper permitting and stuff like that. But what if we were to do, and I'm just throwing it out there, like a Jewish city or a Christian city, right? And that's what we're going to do. The left would be all over us,
Yeah.
would be racist, xenophobes,
Right.
but they say the quiet part out loud. The quiet part being, they want to take over the world, and they're in every country.
There is a precedent for that though with the Mormons in Salt Lake City. But the difference though is that they still function as part of the United States of America and within
Right.
the government and so forth. Now within the church, like other churches do, they have their own rules and regulations, but their rules and regulations are not laws that applies
Right.
to everybody else. So it's a completely different thing. So there is some precedent, but no, that's not no. I feel kind of bad for Texas. They had a bunch of they were Californicated pretty much here for the last decade or so, and they've all moved into Austin and that area with the tech companies, and it's starting to show now with their government. They got some
Absolutely.
major problems. Sad. I saw something. I don't even know if this is real or not, but some guy was saying that he is a gay guy. He converted to Islam, and he was looking for a gay Muslim boyfriend is what he was kind of wanted. I think there's some confusion there somewhere about how all that stuff works. So that's
Yeah.
like you were talking about earlier, somebody getting dropped in a communist country, maybe they'll realize the error of their ways. But
Yep.
I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
I mean, and you know, we're seeing the, you know, we're still seeing the killings of Christians and Jews all over the world.
Mhm.
You know, the old saying, "Those that don't know history are doomed to repeat it." Right? We took out Saddam Hussein, and then we just left Iraq, and then what happened? Right? The ISIS Caliphate came up, and there was also. So right before Biden left office, as Syria was falling in a matter of days, I watched the A-10s buzzing the cities, right? I mean, it was clear as day, right? Nobody else has the A-10 but us. So, you know, we're doing these low-level flybys, and we push out Assad's people, and then they start killing Christians. There's nothing on it, right? And it's the same thing. They're gearing up, right? You can see them, you know, marching in the streets. You know, they've got the banners. They're calling for a holy war.
Well, Christian genocide in Africa.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, two more priests just got beheaded just the other day. You know, and then you know, even in Haiti, two Catholic nuns were just killed. You know, by the roving street gangs. Like, come on, you know.
So there was no reason to overthrow Gaddafi. There was no reason to overthrow al-Assad, and there was no reason to overthrow Saddam Hussein. It was done for purely political reasons. And in doing so, George Bush, Obama, and Biden just weakened the regions, you know. Those guys were the buffers. They kept things in check, you know. So you'll never convince me hanging Saddam was the right thing to do.
Yep.
So it certainly has turned out to be that way. You know, well, it was sold to us, you know, like the manufactured war.
It was all lies. They lied to us.
Yeah.
They still lie to us today.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
you guys heard about Bagram being recovered or allegedly?
Fake story.
Big fake story. Yep.
Fake story. No, none of the U.S. Media was putting it out there. It was all the European media. You figure if they gave us Bagram back, at least Pete Hegseth's department would have come out and said something, or Trump would have been on TV pounding his chest. But no. So that's.
I agree.
Reached out to my intelligence operatives, and they said there's nothing in foundation that would lead anyone in the industry with a half a brain to believe that's true.
Right. That was my first thought also, and it's proving to be correct.
Plus, you got to figure if they did make an offer like that, Trump would have to have a CAT scan on his brain because the place is probably bugged to the hilt. Yeah. You know? They'll be listening and watching everything.
Yeah.
If it isn't already destroyed, which it probably is.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
So
have to be bulldozed and start all over again. But
yeah.
I don't know. And I don't like the whole concept of they gave it back to us. No. You know, we're not going to buy the place. They're not going to give us anything. If we want it back, let's go take it. But you know.
Yeah. I mean, it did have its advantages. I mean,
yeah, it actually does.
It put us in proximity to Russia
and China.
Put us in proximity
and
to
Iran,
China, Pakistan. Put us in proximity to all the problem areas in the world, in case we needed a jump-off point.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So,
well, you know, we talked about this before. You know, about how amateurs talk tactics and professionals talk logistics. And that's a big issue there because it's surrounded by unfriendly countries.
Yeah.
Or countries that aren't necessarily friendly to us. Kyrgyzstan and Turkmenistan for
No,
Turkmenistan are
They
our
sent
only
us-
really options there. We're paying for that shit.
they sent us the Sanayev brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know that, friends.
no, definitely not. Yeah, everything there costs us, but yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess we'll just have to wait to see how that plays out. Let's talk about. All right, I got to get you fired up there since you seem to be more awake now. Let's talk about Kash Patel. He just
Do
got
you really
booted.
want
as
to? Do you
direct-
really want to go there?
Yeah, he just got booted as director of the ATF or interim director. So
And I think very soon he's going to be booted as the FBI director.
Yeah.
He's in over his head.
yeah,
He's out playing ice hockey every day.
yeah,
Lied on his promises before, while they were campaigning that on day one, the public would be able to go to the J. Edgar Hoover building because
Right.
it'd be a museum. That hasn't happened.
right.
He is so insecure that he hired his own private security contractor.
Yeah.
To provide his security.
Yeah.
Bongino, on the other hand, can carry a gun. He's got 20 FBI agents following him around.
Right.
I mean,
Right. Big
this whole
difference
thing
there.
is turning into who's the guy that drives the taxi on Fox News? Jimmy Fallon.
Oh
It's
yeah,
turning into a Jimmy Fallon comedy hour.
yeah.
Really? I
Shit.
mean, I can't think of any other way to describe the whole situation.
Well, apparently the new interim director of the ATF now is the whoever is the who's
Secretary of the Army.
Secretary of the Army. Yeah. What is that going to do to? Because they're trying to get rid of ATF altogether anyway. I think is the plan here.
Well, why don't Trump just
Disband the agency. Say you're done.
give
Go away.
himself a good grab and a cough,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And just take out his Sharpie and just do away with it.
Yeah, that would be the
Send him packing.
easiest thing to do. If that's what the actual plan is, But I mean, maybe there's a reason that they're waiting for so long. But yeah, I
Here's
don't know.
the thing. Time's a ticking, okay? If he doesn't get his agenda done before the midterms,
Mhm.
ain't going to get done. Rest assured.
Yep. Guess we'll just have to wait to see. All right, what else we got?
Anybody see Senator Kennedy today?
I saw a little bit of something about that. Yeah, about what was that about anyway? He always has some pithy comments.
Hang on. So he said that Senator Kennedy told AOC is the leader of the Democratic Party. I think she's the reason that the direction that we are going to take, that's why there were directions on shampoo bottles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Our plan for dealing with her is to just let her speak.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now, with that being said, I wrote a note to AOC, and with everybody's permission, I'll read it.
Well, please do.
Bye, YouTube.
Yeah. Well, oh well.
Yeah. Guess it doesn't matter now.
Yeah, really.
What do you mean? It doesn't matter now.
It doesn't matter whether we get kicked off of YouTube now or not.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Now or next week. Yeah, exactly.
In the wilds of American politics, we encounter a remarkable tale of transformation.
Okay.
Our protagonist, a young, idiotic bartender who embarks on an astonishing journey that takes her from behind the bar to the corrupt halls of Congress overnight. This young jackass, not known for her intellectual prowess, is driven by fervent commitment to woke ideology as she ascends into the halls of corruption. A young jackass is filled with idealism and vodka, determined to implement her idiotic ideas. However, the road ahead is fraught with challenges. and her extremely low intellect quickly and even more apparent. Her woke policies lead to chaos. The area that she represents becomes a shithole. Illegal immigration surges, straining local resources. Poverty deepens, casting a shadow of despair over the community. Of drugs and crime that has a grip on. The region leaving its residents regretting putting a bartender in charge of their city. It now appears that the young jackass lack of intellect combined with her dumbass notions are screwing the very people she was elected to serve. The story of cautionary tale of putting a bartender in charge of making more than margaritas.
There you have it.
There you have it.
The end.
So, I rest my case with AOC.
So you sent that note to her. Did you get a response back, or?
I'll probably not get a response. So some guy, I'll tell you, some guy was threatening Jews the other day on Facebook. So I reported him. I get to think today Facebook didn't see anything wrong with his post.
Yeah, I know that's wrong on so many levels. Yeah, I'm not at all surprised. Not at all surprised. Speaking of bartender stuff, the Buffalo Trace factory, I guess, or brewery, distillery, I guess, is pretty much underwater.
Yeah.
That's kind of uncomfortable. New Mexico and weird. New Mexico is a pretty blue state now. They've pretty much been destroyed. The conservative policies, and apparently, their illustrious governor has now decided to call out the National Guard to assist law enforcement up in the northern part of the state because the crime is completely out of control. Because of fentanyl abuse and thefts and burglaries and aggravated assaults and all kinds of shit. So their failed policies have caused the National Guard now to have to be.
You mean sort of like Chicago?
Yeah, but on a much wider scale.
Or Illinois.
Yeah, or New York, or
Detroit,
or Pittsburgh, Detroit. Shall we? Yeah, pretty much. The entire northern half of the country, or northwest eastern half. Well, actually, California, San Diego. Apparently, in Mexico, I guess, is having some kind of sewer treatment plant problem, so they're dumping all their sewage into the river that runs into the U.S. and out to our ocean now. So it's full of unfiltered Mexican sewage from Mexico. It was just
good times.
Something to talk about. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. No, good times, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that always comes up to that same question that I ask. I know I bring it up each week, but are people really voting for this? Right? I mean, really? Well, let's look at the different cities and towns that were great places to live and where when you could afford to buy a home, right? Buy a home, raise kids there, and then now all these places they turn and like Nick Freitas, representative in Virginia, he's not going to seek re-election, but I follow his Instagram, and he's a former Green Beret, really smart guy, real funny, right? Good conservative. He'll post stuff and he'll say, hey, listen, when Democrats say they're not trying to transition your kids, he goes, let's take a look at this. That there is a bill in Virginia that was being passed that would allow schools to transition the children without notifying the parents. And they just wanted to, the conservatives weren't going to get it, but they just wanted to hey, let's have the debate. Let's talk to people where their kids were actually trafficked or their kids were transitioned and then now they're detransitioning and how this is bad. Democrats shut it right down. So it's true. They are coming for your children. They are, right. Yeah. Let's not hide behind that. I can tell you, the state that I live in, it's pretty much like that, especially if you go to any of the populated areas. Everybody's got, blue, pink, purple, rainbow hair, and they have a hair trigger. They are, if they see a red hat and they'll just start screaming at you until you turn around. It's like, oh, it's a Yankees hat. Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what it is, right? I mean, as soon as they see a red hat, right? The
that's
TDS
crazy, man.
is insane. And this comes back to something I think that, and man, I hate to say it, but I think the reason Hollywood backs the Democrats the way they do is they're just a bunch of actors and actresses. That's all they are, right? They're solely in it not to make the country better. They're solely in it to line their pockets. They give us speeches. Half the time they make no sense, right? But they give us these speeches, and they have all sorts of diverse characters that are in there, and they take our money, and then off they go. And it's like Hollywood. That's pretty much what it is. Except if Hollywood actors could make laws, that's what it would be. It's what we have now, and you have some patriots that are trying to save it, but these policies, I just don't understand how people can vote for them. And the more Ukraine flags I drive by and see in people's houses, it's like, all right, well, the Kool-Aid's strong there. So
That's an interesting analysis, the comparison with Hollywood actors and crap, because that's pretty much what the Democrats are doing now. They're trying,
Yep.
they're acting, they're playing a part, because all of them are trying to be tough guys now. Swalwell's up there wearing a Levi shirt and saying "fuck this" and "fuck that" and
right.
and all this, and they're all cursing and yelling and screaming and dancing and whatever the hell. It is. You got Jasmine, what's her name out there?
Crockett. Crockett. Crockett.
Yeah, talking about in her ghetto accent, talking about people picking cotton, and they're just acting.
Yeah, that was unhinged. I saw that. That was that's not even based on reality.
No,
but
it
at
isn't.
the same time, she's calling the illegal immigrants. She's calling them our new slaves.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Now,
that's very American of you. Well done.
Yeah.
If any of us three were to say to Jasmine Crockett or any Jasmine Crockett type people, go find a farm and go pick cotton, I guarantee you that within 24 hours, the FBI would be knocking on your door.
Yeah.
So,
but it's okay for her to say it, though.
Right.
Of course. Well, that's what I thought it was funny, and I wish I was wherever she was when she said, "Listen, none of y'all here want to be farmers." And I know somebody must have put up. Okay, great. Well, like I would have been like, whoa. Well, absolutely. That's exactly what I want to do.
Right.
So why don't you make it easier so somebody like me and my wife can go and do that? Absolutely. We would love to be farmers. I'll pick cotton. I don't care. I'm not above that. But how about you make it financially viable for farmers to sustain their farm and to sustain their family, right? Why don't we go ahead and work on something like that? Why don't we work to reduce big ag, right, and stop all the chemicals?
Definitely.
I thought these people were the environmentalists. That's what I thought, right? Most of them used to hug trees, so why don't we figure out a way to make farming sustainable, right? How about we actually get our soil healthy again, right? So we're not just dumping chemicals into the ground and then killing it where it's barren.
I think Trump's trying to work on behalf of the American farmer. I mean,
definitely.
Canada with all those tariffs. Canada's charging like what 500% on dairy products from the United States. So Trump's trying to save the farmer.
That's what I just thought it was funny that Crockett was up there saying, "Listen, nobody here wants to be a farmer." That's not true, right? And if you actually talk to the American people, you'd probably learn something.
Well, remember though, this is somebody that thinks. I imagine she thinks that groceries are like they make them in the back of the grocery store.
Right.
They like mix them with water and shit, and they just pop up all prepackaged. And
why do you think they call it a grocery store?
Well, exactly. So that's why she thinks. I'm sure she has no idea what a farmer is.
Right.
But
has no idea where the food comes from.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why it's listen, I love hunting, right? And that's what I thought it was great. Like during COVID, all of a sudden, right, these anti-hunt, right, these environmentalists and these all the PETA people, right? And some of the people that we used to work with that were, I can't believe you would shoot an animal. It's like, well, hold on. First off, I'm eating it, right? I don't shoot anything I'm not going to eat, and
Right.
it's better than that, than your 16-year-old kid hitting it at 10 o'clock at night on the highway and then rolling their
Mhm.
car. So hunters are the number one people for conservation, right? But a lot of these people, it's like, where do you think steaks come from, right? Do you think they
Mhm.
just show up in a machine at the back of the grocery store?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
there's a
they do.
farmer that raised a cow and then slaughtered it, then sent it to a butcher who
Mhm.
quartered it, and then
Mhm.
made it into that nice little pretty thing that they put in plastic for you to take home and throw on the grill, right? Like that.
Right.
That's, I shouldn't have to explain that.
Yeah.
But this is where, like, that's when the politicians get up there, and all you have to do, Operation Let Her Speak, let AOC start running her mouth, and she just
Yep.
shows that
Yep.
it's
They are correct.
it doesn't work.
It does not. All right, fellas, let's take about a 5-minute break and then we'll come back and continue on with this. Sound like a plan?
Sounds good.
Okay, folks, you are back with I-12 GIA, the voice of experience, real talk, real people. We're back with you if you stuck around with us. Thanks for sticking around. We'll continue on here. What happened? There we go. So what do you think, fellas? What do you want to talk about next?
You pick. I can't see anything.
I know. Me neither. Stand by just a second here. We couldn't get through the whole this without some kind of technical difficulties here. Of course, what happened to our note? Stay on page. What happened to our thing here? Where'd it go? Well, there we go. There we are. There we go. All right. We'll get it back eventually. All right. There. That's better. Okay. Let's see. What's next on the agenda? We got about 17 minutes left, I think. Something like that.
You got 1.2 billion for. Are they really building a ski resort in Ukraine? Is that a thing right now? I mean,
well, they got to do something with all that money.
Yeah, you think they would do it after the war, but who's gonna go to the ski resort? If you finish it before the end of the war, right? I'm glad I was able to invest in something I didn't know I wanted to invest in.
Yeah. Well, apparently, there are enough people with enough money to spread around there that they're buying new Bentleys and new Rolls Royces and condos and property all over the world, and sort of islands and resorts and shit. So sure, why not? But let's put a ski resort there too, or ski resort, whatever.
I got to tell you, the drone footage I'm seeing coming out of there is so disturbing.
Yeah,
so disturbing, right? I don't know if you guys seen the one yet where the APC gets hit a few times. Then there's three guys that get out and they're running like they're running from a swarm of bees, right? And they're like trying to zigzag. And when you look closely, you could see the drone like kind of darting in and out. And then, boom, it goes and, takes off, one guy's legs. And then there's another one where the drone is looking down at a guy that's clearly wounded, right? He's bleeding. He's in the recovery position. He's not moving. And the drone kind of like dives down a couple times and then boom, hits him again. Like,
yeah.
Interesting, but scary.
Yeah, that's why I think a lot of there's going to be some war crimes from some of those drone operators are guilty of war crimes.
100%.
Based on some of the stuff that we've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Ukraine's a whole different. Oh, what do you think about apparently they found a bunch of Chinese nationals in there that are.
They did?
In the army, yeah, apparently today.
Yeah, fighting for Russia.
Fighting for Russia. Yeah, figure that one out.
Personally, I really don't care if they wipe each other off the face of the earth.
Oh, I don't either. At this point,
bring on the drones. Bring on the drones.
Yeah, I don't. Of course they're like, Putin's violating the what? Like, stop. Look, at the end of it, Ukraine doesn't even, Zelensky doesn't even want to be at the table, right? So I don't want to hear it, and so that's troubling for sure.
Who's doing the droning, Ukraine or the U.S. or Ukraine?
Both.
It's got to be
Ukraine and Russia. I think the Ukrainians are a lot more brutal about it, though.
Well, let them have at it. I mean, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Well,
it provides a little entertainment on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah, I was gonna do.
I read scripture at church tonight, so I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, killing.
Yeah, I was gonna do a special on that. I was gonna do a special on drone on those, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't. There's just.
Yeah, I think we need to pay attention for sure. If they have that there, that most certainly is here. Most certainly, and
Yeah.
you know,
The technology, but they're perfecting the technology, and exporting it. You know, the cartels are starting to use a lot of drones now, which apparently so are we about to. I guess they
Yep.
pretty much drone
I got
strikes
a
against the
drone. I
cartels
got
are
a drone
authorized.
sitting on my shelf right here. I fly once a week.
Yeah, it's a little different kind of drones, but yeah, that kind of worked though. I think.
I could put a gun on it.
I have a feeling net guns are going to be a thing again.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
You know?
What's going to be a thing again?
Net guns, right? To where you're almost firing like a bowling net. You know, if
To
somebody's
catch
trying to get close to you, you know what I mean?
to tangle these things. Yeah.
Tangle the props up. Yeah.
Yep, that's going to be the coming future of warfare. I think.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy, I don't know. Do we want to talk about what's coming up a little bit, or what we're doing there?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got a
go
lightning.
ahead.
We got a lightning thing too coming up at all.
Oh yeah, yeah, we can do that. Actually, yeah, we got 10 minutes left, so let's go ahead and get that out of the way now. Let's see what's happening on YouTube this evening. Yeah, or not YouTube, on X, Twitter, or whatever I can call it now. No, we're not going to do Will Smith's son Jaden's fashion sense. Let's see. Xi Jinping just announced 180% tariffs on U.S. goods starting tomorrow. It's over. What's over? So, they don't. China doesn't buy goods from us. They sell shit to us. What difference does it make how much they put on U.S. goods? That's the whole point. These idiots.
So
this is from Real World Asset Watch List.
my answer to that be Sun Ting Wong.
Something, yeah, Professor.
Bye. It's
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah.
I wonder how many American companies are going to just jump ship from there now.
Oh hell yeah, yeah! You see it happening already. Okay, let's do this. Can you name one thing that China has invented? Just one single thing.
That they're what?
That they have invented. Name one thing that China has invented.
COVID.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well done.
Yep, that was a good one.
I would say they're like modular buildings that can go up in about 15, 20 minutes, but can't stand 30-mile-an-hour winds.
Okay.
That's about it.
I was thinking Mushu pork or General Tso's chicken.
I think that's all American.
Yeah, probably. French or some such shit. All right. All right. Here's a visual. How to ruin a family lunch.
Oh. That'll do it.
Any comments, gentlemen?
Yeah, that's where father and mother are brother and sister. Yeah.
You okay? Yeah, Professor.
I got nothing on that. Like I said,
Okay.
I just left church not that long ago.
All right, I got one. I got where's the beef?
Oh.
Whoop, that. All right, there we go. I lost the X there for a minute. Breaking: Democrat Senator Adam Schiff says he will be investigating if there was insider trading with the new Trump announcements on pausing tariffs. There is just all too much opportunity for people in the White House and the administration to be insider trading, according to Adam Schiff.
Isn't he supposed to be in jail by now? Why is he still walking? I don't get it. Director Patel, if you could, please.
So I think that the entire dysfunctional cabinet, consisting of two key players, Clarence the Cross-Eyed Lion and Pam, I'm good for nothing, Bondi, ought to take the opportunity and put this POS in handcuffs and throw them away like they did the J6s for 8 or 10 months before they even let his lawyer see him. All right.
Yeah. My one word comment is Guantanamo.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll take that.
Here's a funny one. You're walking through a forest and you see the Clintons sinking in quicksand. What do you do?
Throw him the finger.
Take a selfie.
Throw them an anchor. Or a 58 Buick, either way. Let's see. What the hell? No, I'm gonna do that one. That's an interesting philosophical question, actually. How many times would you press a button that gives you $10,000, but a random person dies each time?
0.
Yeah, same here. 0.
Yeah, 0.
Yeah. Okay, good. Let's sweat that one for a minute. All right. Oh my God. Whoopi Goldberg joins anti-Trump sex strike. My vagina is now closed.
I thought she was a man.
I'll second that. I thought she was a man too.
So, my bad.
I just got a follow-up question to that.
Do you now? What is the question?
What was Ted Danson thinking?
Oh man, I have no idea.
I don't think she was as crazy back then. Right?
Either that or she could suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
Well,
Because
that's possible.
there was like, oh man, I won't even watch Cheers anymore because I think the guy's
I
got
know.
some mental issues.
Yeah.
Well, when he's painting a whole street orange, you know he's got a problem.
Well, yeah. All right, here's an interesting question. Should mega churches like Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church, seating capacity almost 17,000, be taxed?
They should be shut down. They're all frauds.
Okay.
But
That's
those are
it.
not churches.
It's not a church.
Okay. It's more like an entertainment venue of some kind.
Honestly,
no,
it is.
it's actually it's probably like money laundering and stuff like that.
All right.
Well, yeah, that's I've gone to some churches where it's more of a concert than anything else.
Yeah.
And you feel bad because there are some people that go to make a connection, and
I don't know.
different faiths. Do the math.
Yeah, pretty much. I think maybe we're past. I don't know about. I don't know. What what I was going to ask earlier? Do you guys think all these Islamic cities and so forth are getting tax breaks, or are they being? I'm assuming they're not paying taxes on anything as religious organizations. All right.
I'm going to go one further than that.
That's
I'm going to
calculated.
say I think we're powerless to stop it.
Okay. Yeah, that's possible. Shit. I had something that rattled around in my brain and it just fell out and I forgot what it was.
Well, if we
What
ever
wrong,
needed
brain?
if we ever needed to guard the Pilgrim Road, it's now.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. All right, here's a good one. Civil War breaks out in the U.S. Which region wins the war? Well, you can't really see that. Never mind. It's broken up into. Let's see if I can clarify this here. Nope, that won't work. How about that? Yeah. Okay. All right. Which region wins the war? Northwest, West, Southwest, Midwest, Southeast, Mid-Atlantic, or Northeast?
Northeast.
Northeast wins the Civil War.
South.
Yep.
South all day.
Yeah, I'm going to go south too, or southeast actually, because we can't really trust. Southwest, no, not anymore. That's New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, big chunk of Texas. I think they're, nah. I would like to think so, but especially not Colorado. But southeast, though, you got Florida and those regional states. I don't know. You really think the Northeast would win a Civil War? I mean, would the?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
You got a bunch of crazy people up here that would fight to the death. Yeah.
Well, what would they fight? The good guys for the good or for evil?
Listen, I'm just going to base it on history. We did it in 1776. The first
Yeah.
shots were fired at Concord.
Yeah.
So Paul Revere Road from Boston. So, I mean, the Northeast has done it once before. I'm pretty sure that we're capable of doing it again.
Well, I mean, back then, in defense, and back then we knew what a woman was. We don't
Yeah.
know what that is now. So
Yeah.
I'm not. I would say this. I would probably say that the Northeast wouldn't be doing much because there'd be way too much infighting.
Hard to say. Got 4 minutes, fellas. What do you want to talk about for the last 4 minutes?
Give everybody a little update as to why we're going off the air.
Okay. We had a
We're burnt out.
we had a joint get together here about a week ago, and yeah, everybody's fried. You know, we've been doing this for what, 2 years now, I think, and the politics now have just gotten so horrific that I don't think anybody wants to talk about it anymore.
No.
You know, I know I personally don't. I'm done with the whole thing. I'm not enjoying this anymore. There's too much hate, too much vitriol, and that it takes a toll on you, especially for us because we deal with this shit every day. You know, we research all this stuff that we want to talk about, and we have a couple of meetings every week, and we get together and discuss it. And I think it's hurt us. So we're going to try to get back to our roots, which is training and some of those kind of things, and see if we can't get our buddy Lee back in here now that he's done with paramedic school. And
it's already proven to be productive. I already got a training contract. So
yeah, see, so we're going to still be doing. We're not exactly sure what the format's going to be yet, or how we're going to do this, but we'll do one more show here and this, like we're doing this of the voice of experience, and then we're going to figure something else out for there, and we'll be going forward.
We'll be shutting it down because I
yeah,
got friends that I thought were friends that are so freaking hateful.
Yeah.
You know, I got a gay Jewish friend that wears rainbow yarmulkes and shoes, and he's busting my balls for being a Trump supporter. Then there's a lesbian nurse that called me a Nazi. I mean, it gets downright ugly, you know. And I personally have had it. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, I usually close out the show with well, I'll save that for later. So, but I'll save that for my closing statement. But about how that changes up, which I guess we can probably go ahead and do, guys. We got 2 minutes.
Sure.
Okay, Professor, go ahead.
It's been fun. Still having some fun, and I'm glad that we've had the conversations that we've had. It always sucks when we lose voices, right? So I would encourage people that are listening or watching or whatever that let your voice be heard, right? Have conversations. Yeah, it sucks when you're dealing with some of these nutbags that we thought were friends, but the conversations had to be had, because if we stop talking and we stop debating and we stop being productive, bad things happen, right? So it's important to keep your voice heard. I'm debating on doing a separate thing, a separate podcast. I hate video anyways, and besides, nobody wants to really look at this, but that may happen at some point. But
right.
Proper planning prevents poor performance. Get training wherever you can. Have conversations. Stay active. Stay motivated.
Okay. Specialist?
I'm going to keep it short. I'm a man of few words.
For fuck's sake. Okay. All right. Yeah, I usually close up with prepare to self-rescue, because ain't nobody coming to get you. Keep your loved ones close and give them a big hug. And pretty much what I've learned through all this little adventure here for the last couple of years is you can't talk to a psycho like a normal human being. And there are way too many psychos out there right now to even try to talk to them anymore. And I think we all need a break from that. So we're going to go ahead and close this episode out. We will be back next week, same time, same station. But next week will be our final episode. I think hopefully we're going to go out with a bang instead of a whimper. But I guess we'll, join us next week and find out.
I'm saving up all my energy for next week. That's why I was mellow tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like a plan. All right, fellas, I'm going to go ahead and push the button here if I can get my mouse to work. It helps if I turn it right side up. All right. Good night, folks. Thanks for joining us, and we will be back next time, hopefully. Up, up, up. Shit. My mouse doesn't want